Merry Christmas, Jared. Merry Christmas to you and you and you and you and especially you. And this is
What about them?
The Fest Podcast.
Yeah, I love how you con me into being all festive and you're in here with an AC/DC shirt and a camouflaged hat that nobody can see.
I wouldn't call the sweater there festive.
This isn't.
I would call that
you festive.
I would
Christmas
call
sweater.
it a sweater.
Yeah. It's my beautiful sweater.
And however, you wore my hat that I brought.
Did you bring this hat?
Yes, I brought that hat.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's because your other hat was way too hot for this afternoon.
Or you can't. You know, the other hat that you had on was way better than that hat.
Oh, it was so
and
hot.
that was a gift I gave you for Christmas 2 years ago.
It's a great gift. But
and you decide not to show the greatness of that hat in today's podcast. So next week, maybe Jared will wear that one.
Inside baseball, when we're shooting in here in the afternoon, it is a sweat box. And that hat would have had me red-faced, probably passed out and like droplets of sweat.
Well, when we do have a live studio audience, which we did this afternoon, and we have the Light Jumper Boys with us tonight.
Right? Woo!
Trace, Jacob.
Thanks, boys.
Making it happen. Making it happen.
Making it real.
You, yeah, you. Me, yeah, you. Sound check it, Jared.
Sound check it. So we're going to do a little Indie Country Fest update.
That'll be a fun one.
Is it?
Yes.
I've already.
We're going to talk about you and you and you
and them. Them. All right. And why they should be buying tickets for them.
Yeah.
Right.
He's right.
He's right. So then we're going to talk about some festival
news around the world.
Yes. And
yes.
So
we're going to go vaccine a little bit.
We're still going vaccine. That's 3 weeks in a row.
You found two of them because it's very relevant.
It is because it's the science and business intertwining to kind of come up with solutions for what we're going to do in the future, maybe.
Well, is it?
I don't know.
Wait and see.
All right. And then our headliner this week was Bob Bliss.
That was super fun. I mean, that guy's got decades and decades of entertainment, music and country music, festival entertainment experience. He has many great, funny stories.
He was good.
And we're thinking about adding, maybe, we got to talk to Bob about this
segment.
Yeah. What would that segment be?
Story time with Bob?
Story time with Bob.
We got to limit him, though. You gotta say like 5-10 minutes, or we could end up with like 2-hour podcast,
which could be very good and dynamic.
It was when we did the headliner. We just got rolling and rolling. It's like, oh boy,
yeah,
we need to roll it back a little.
So those of you listening, you can go ahead and jump onto our YouTube and watch it too, because that is great. And it, and Bob's a very dynamic person and has a great personality and great stories. And I enjoy talking to him all the time. And for those of you that I don't want to spoil it, but a lot of you do know, but he is on the ND Country Fest team as well. So it's a fun one. So take a listen, and it's great. It's great. I laughed a ton.
I think what would you do if there was no COVID was the best answer, right?
Best answer yet, and we've had a lot of cool guests on.
I didn't know what to say. I'm like, all right, you could probably be doing that right now, but okay.
So check that out.
Do you like the little jingle?
Yeah, it was jingling this aftoon. I know. Too. I thought it was very festive.
When I tried to make it jingle during it, it wouldn't. And then some random point, I'd hear this like
you would move. You took a drink of your
took a drink and it goes.
You went, bing.
All right, so then Ralphie's top three. We're doing I don't know.
It was Christmas decorations. It was good. It was solid.
It was
solid. It was solid.
I give it like a B-. And
then stage left. You know what? We never talked about this, but that'll be interesting because we don't really know. We didn't prep for it.
No, I prepped.
Oh, come on.
I can talk about 70 to 0 or 70 to 7 for an entire hour. I could do a whole podcast.
Well, that's only going to be about 2 minutes.
We need to bring like Joe Healy back and just relive every play.
How can these fine people listen to us and find us, Jared?
Apple Podcasts. If you're there, rate,
excuse me,
review, subscribe. You know who hadn't subscribed to you yet?
This is my brother.
Your brother Mikey. I cook his phone. He's like, I don't know. I tried to find you. It was very hard.
No, he didn't.
I spent a lot. I'm like, here, let me type in the Fast podcast. I didn't have to do that. I typed the Fast.
And boom, it popped right up.
It pops. He's like, oh
what
my gosh.
What platform was that?
That's on Apple.
Ah.
So that's our new plan. All right. If you're a lover of our podcast, the next time you see a friend, loved one, countryman, grab their phone.
Or your lover.
Lover? Wow. It's getting sexy time here tonight, Luke.
Jeez.
You're the one talking about lovers. Grab their phone and see if they're subscribed. If they're not subscribed, type in the Fest Podcast, find us there, and subscribe.
And hey, go ahead.
Leave 5-star review.
Yes, I love that part.
Right? Gets us in the algorithm.
And you can also jump over and grab their phone and throw them on our YouTube channel. Go to the Fest Podcast YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button because our first 100 people are going to get into a great big some giveaways that are going to be pretty cool.
Are we being a little forward by grabbing the phone and hitting the podcast and then going to YouTube?
It's climbing though. You know what? Some of these views on some of these YouTube ones, we've even had some great traction in the last 3-4 weeks. So thank you for all of you who are watching the YouTube channel and who are listening to the podcast. That's great. And what's great about the YouTube channel is you can actually view us and view and see our guests because they have many different expressions as we're talking and going through this thing. Right. And it's fun. It's fun. And we've had some great guests, especially the one with Bob here. And then even the one with Jay from Coors Light Jerome Distributing.
That was good. I think all of our headliners have been really good. Do you know who we should talk back with?
Who?
Is, Chris?
Chris Simmerow, yeah.
Yeah, because the NBA is getting ready to start again, and I'm just interested in what their plans are going to be.
That is fun. Hey, you know what? It's snowing right now, and we're going to go right into ND Country Fest updates.
It better not be snowing. Right?
Brought to you by Lee Jershewski. Find your keys with Lee. ND Country Fest updates, Jared. You know what? This is the giving time, the great time. It's the holiday spirit. It's got Christmas is right around the corner, but you know what? You do think about others, but sometimes, especially this time, you got to think about you, right?
You know what? Here's where I've been doing this podcast too long or doing the lives too long, or we've been talking about this so much. I saw a car commercial this weekend, right?
Yeah.
And normally the car commercials are a little weird at Christmas.
Right.
It's like, hey, give your husband this brand new car, and without even talking to him.
Before we move any farther, can I tell you what my favorite one is?
Okay.
When the guy comes home and says, hey, I bought your Christmas gifts, and he has 2 cars out there. One's an awesome kick-ass truck.
Oh, she takes the truck.
And the other one's the SUV. And she goes, oh, my favorite color is red. And she took the truck.
I don't like that in any circumstance, because if you went home and told your wife you bought her a car and it was just sitting out there and you gave her no say, no choice in the matter, no color, nothing, would she be happy with you or would she be a little bit peeved off?
I'm assuming they went shopping prior and then he just went and got it without her knowing.
That's not how that commercial reads to me.
So anyway, proceed, my friend.
So anyways, this was the commercial that I really liked in the cars because the whole ad is SUV, right? Except when I'm hearing it, I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about buying myself NDC Country Fest tickets because that's all we've been talking about.
And it's very true, right? So this time, you know, a lot of people are talking about, you know, you got to take care of yourself. You know, yourself been jammed up for about 8 months, haven't been really out having great times, but think about yourself. Go ahead and get yourself that VIP ticket, get that GA ticket, get the camping because it's going to be a blast. And it's something to look forward to as we progress farther and farther through this whole thing together, and July is going to be a great time.
Yeah, it's funny. Like my wife and I were out walking the dogs the other night, and she was like, "You know how I said I wanted to get a Cricut or I don't know, Cricut? It's some DIY thing.
Yeah,
you make stuff out of it.
Oh, sure.
Do you know what I'm talking about? You seen that? She's like, but I've decided I want to get something else for Christmas, and I'll just get for myself. And she said it. I have no idea what she said. Like I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm like, okay, I'll get that. Knowing full well I'm going to get her something anyway because, you know, I'm not going to fall into that. And so, but then again, she's not going to get me what I want, right?
Maybe.
So I might as well take care of myself.
Well, exactly.
Get me some nice VIP.
You're going to get 2 VIP passes.
2?
Yeah.
For her?
Or,
I got to bring her?
Whoever. I can give
Cameron?
Cameron, if you're out there listening.
Cameron will take care of me.
Which we know you are.
The vinegar.
He'll definitely come. Definitely come.
Right?
He's going anyway.
He's going
and
anyway.
You know that tent you're talking about earlier?
Yeah.
Bob,
Cameron in the middle of a monsoon. Just
Cameron would make friends real quick.
Yeah, Cameron make friends.
There you go.
And he'd probably save me in a monsoon.
Yeah. Ex-military guy. You're well taken care of.
Well taken care of. But that's what I'm thinking. It's just, it's a well-placed ad. And it's so well-placed that I thought about us after I saw that ad.
And it's true. You take care of yourself. Get that good time out there. Go to NDCountryFest.com. Some of those spots and experiences are getting tight. We do have one that is sold out, which is the elevated platform.
How about those porta potties?
Yep.
We sell more of them.
Porta potties are going fast. And that's something I mentioned too, right? I mean, that's one of the things. It's the world we're in. And, we've seen a 300% increase in our porta potty sales. For those of you that are camping, you can get your own porta potty on your own.
That's like a game changer for me.
Well, it is. Well, we had talked about this, and maybe people aren't comfortable using the ones where there's like 200 in a row, and they're like, well, I want my own on my own campsite, so I don't have to share anything with that, which totally get it. And our whole team sanitizes all those anyway throughout the whole
Can I get two porta potties and have a his and hers?
You can. There's no limit on the porta potties.
Whoa. Wow. So let me get this straight. Look. So I'm shopping for myself for Christmas. I'm going to get VIP tickets.
Yeah, get a VIP ticket.
All right. I got to get
extra large VIP camping site.
Is there an extra large VIP camping?
Not many left.
So I got to get that.
Yeah.
And then if I'm bringing the current Mrs. Bennett, I got to get his and her porta potties because there's no way she's sharing.
And your camping passes as well.
Oh, I got to get camping passes too?
Yeah.
All right. And then what else am I getting?
You know what? You were pretty maxed out, my friend.
That's it.
And then you'll end up getting your beers and you're ready to roll.
So I've bought everything I could possibly buy.
Beers, drinks, t-shirts, food.
You're not going to come back next week and go, hey, you know what's really oddly selling? The XYZ package that we've never talked about in the entire time I've known you. So
no, that's it. You'd be set. And you know what? You'd have something, like I said, something to look forward to, and it'll be a great time.
So what do you think? We should get a little more knowledge about Leap?
Hit it.
All right.
Let's do it.
What sets me apart is I like to interact with my 8 clients a little bit more, maybe just actually become more friends with them than just a client business relationship. I'd probably have to say it'd be Who Hut, just because I like the food and my daughter absolutely loves it. I chose real estate because I like to help people, and it's fun, it's exciting, it can be stressful, but it's always good to just find a solution to a problem.
ND Country Fest 2021 is coming back stronger and better than ever with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Little Texas, featuring Diamond Rio, Leroy Parnell, John Michael Montgomery, with more coming soon. Plan now to attend Dakota's largest and nation's fastest growing country music and camping festival, ndcountryfest.com.
Sponsored by Coors Light, Action Motorsports, New Vision Security, Trans Trash, Smithworks, and American Family Insurance, DJ Coulter Agency.
All right, we are jingling our way into our headliner, Jared, brought to you by Bruno's Pizza, $15.99, any large, anytime. Order yours today at brunosnd.com. We have a special headliner today, a man with decades of experience in the music industry, has done many things, is known as the godfather of country music festivals, a friend of mine, a great team member of ND Country Fest. We have Bob Bliss with us today. There he is, the godfather in the flesh, baby. There he is.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Good to see you, Bob.
Good. The Godfather. Known as the Godfather by very few.
By Luke.
Bob, tell our listeners, you have decades of experience in the music industry. Tell us some of those special stories. One, touch on how you got into the gig, and then some special experiences you've had. And you're from a small town in Minnesota. Is that right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Arlington, Minnesota. It's in central southern Minnesota, farm community, and then made my way up towards Fargo, North Dakota. And
go Bison.
Go Bison, absolutely.
Yeah, she'd still be.
And while I was there, but when I was in high school, theater and entertainment was always something I was very interested in, and it's actually what probably I hate to say it, but it's the truth, kept me in high school.
Wow.
You know, there was art, all of that. That was just the things that I gravitated towards. And when I got up into Fargo, I got involved with a fairly, I'm going to say it this way, a very hip church that
all right.
like to do a lot of things, reaching out to the community, what have you. And we did all kinds of things in drama and musicals. And we also then got into promoting concerts, Christian concerts. And so this would have been back in the late 70s.
That was a very hip church for the 70s.
Yeah, you know, we really was sort of cutting edge, and it was fun. And from there, I also then started an organization that, especially if you know, our way of presenting the gospel was using the theatrical arts, and that was from theater to music to interpretive dance. And the interesting thing is the audience for this organization, the audience that we reached out to were inner cities, prisons, juvenile facilities, homeless shelters. We traveled, and we're still active to today.
Wow.
And have a team going, what have you. But travel from North Dakota to the New England states, and that's a whole nother experience.
So, Bob, was there a show when you were a kid or in high school that you saw that you're like, wow, I really want to get into this type of work? Well,
you know, I was just a partier, and I loved going to parties.
You love being around people. He's a very obviously likable guy, and he loves just sitting. When we first met, I don't know, some of our phone conversations were like a couple hours, right?
Really? Well, that's not his fault. That's your fault.
Well, I'll put an hour on myself and an hour on Bob.
Okay, that makes sense. I like how we're sitting here talking about a hip Christian church as you're rocking the AC/DC shirt today.
Yeah, and you're rocking ASU. Absolutely.
I am, but that's for a certain reason. So.
well, and it all does tie together, because the organization that I started, we then also got involved in chaplaincy programs with first responders in different communities. And then from there, one day I was driving, I was at this point, I moved to Detroit Lakes, and WeFest was going on.
So what's WeFest for those people that don't know?
WeFest was the King of Kings, really. I mean, it was the festival that really led the industry. You know, some could argue it wasn't the biggest and the best in the nation, but you surely could argue it was one of the biggest and best.
And you were pushing country music and camping festival. Right. And Bob, when at its peak, how many people were there on the daily?
The biggest year that the festival ever had broke 50,000 people a day.
50,000?
A day.
50,000.
Not through
It's like 2 Laramies and 10 Codys.
That's a whole lot of Wyoming right there.
It's like most of the state is coming to WeFest.
Yep.
So that's a country music festival. It started when did it start?
Yeah, when was that?
83.
1983. So had you been to WeFest before you got hooked up with them, or?
No. As a matter of fact, as I was saying there, I drove by, saw this all going on, and I just thought, you know, this would be a cool place for our organization to come in and be just come in and be of service. You know, our intent was that we could just help people out. We could, you know, whatever that meant. I guess we really didn't know, but we just thought we could come in and do something of service to the patrons.
So how did you knock on that door? How did you knock on that door? How did you get in there? That's an interesting part.
So this is a fun little story.
I knew it was coming.
I after the show, after the festival was over, I called and I asked for the owner. And knowing the owner at that was the owner at that time, the fact that I even got into him is sort of amazing because he doesn't just take calls.
Right.
And so I introduced myself and I just asked. I had something that I thought he'd really be interested in, and if I could meet with him. So I went in and I explained to him why counties and large cities have chaplains. And, for that particular week of the year, you're one of the biggest cities around. And here's some things that we could help and offer to in service for you. He was sort of scratching his head, and when he tells this story, he goes, he was thinking, what the heck is this guy smoking?
Gonna set up a church in the corner?
Yeah, right. But he took it to his partners, which is an eclectic group of people at that time. And I can just remember this unfolding. It wasn't like, oh yeah, let's do it. It was like, who's this? What's this all about? Blah, 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 thinking I'm going to come in and want to just shake the Bible and point in people's face and blah, blah, blah. So they let us come in. And that first year, there was 9 of us that covered the grounds. And just as I said, just going out, meeting people, just being of service. If we could escort them or give them a ride or help them out in any way, shape, or form, that's just what we were doing. And it evolved because the law enforcement got wind of us being there, and the medical got wind of us being there. And they quickly figured out how they could use us to their advantage. And we ended up, if somebody got in trouble and law enforcement really didn't want to take them to jail, they would give them, well, we're going to take you down. You're going to sit with the chaplains until you settle down or whatever. If there's any problem, we'll haul you to jail. But this is sort of your last stop before you go to jail, kind of a thing. And it was also, if minors drinking, and things like that, they would bring them to us, and we would reunite them with the family.
That never happens, right?
Yeah, no, that never happens.
Of course,
and then the medical, the same thing, is there was people that didn't need to go to the hospital, but they just didn't have the capacity to sit with everybody. So we sort of evolved into helping out that way as well. So then I also have a business background, and I've been in a number of different successful adventures business-wise. And as the owners got to know me, they got to recognize that there's more value in Bob than just offering the service, and they started inviting me into the board meetings and what have you, and the next thing you know, I'm on staff, and taking on more and more responsibility. We started some other festivals. We did a Christian festival called Spirit Fest. We did a jam band festival called 10,000 Lakes Festival. We did another one called High Plains Festival. We developed another one in Kansas City called Flatlands. We did a number of standalone shows in some of them were in the Twin Cities, but also on the grounds. And it just sort of evolved. And to bring it sort of to the end here, I went from being a volunteer servicing the patrons to ultimately running the show.
You were the general manager for how many years?
Several.
Don't want to go on the record.
So many, I can't remember.
I don't want to be on the record on that.
Yeah, right. I don't remember exactly when I took over.
But that's such a good story, right? Going from knocking on the door to volunteering to helping to all of a sudden running the whole show to its prime too, right? I just want to make sure everybody knows, like, when it was in that 50,000 a day, that was Bob as the GM.
Well, and that's a traditional like entertainment industry story. It's kind of like Adam Carolla always says, if you want to get involved in radio or you want to get involved in movies, you want to get involved in any of that, start as a volunteer, you work your way up, you just stay there all the time. And eventually you're going to go from being the volunteer to being staff to being, in front of it.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to learn. Being there all the time.
All the
you're
time.
Gonna learn.
That's how I got into politics.
There
I started off as the first volunteer and ended up, being paid staff after an election or two.
That's great.
Yep. So, what was your best show at WeFest? The one that's most memorable. How's that?
Oh shoot!
Or artist encounter. How about that?
Well, let's go with 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3.
Honestly, so each year is like 18 or so artists. You know, so I mean, it just.
So you got a plethora to choose from.
I mean, so I'm a rock and roller, I'm a classic rock guy. That's that, so, working with, working with the Beach Boys was fun. Working with Ringo Starr and the All-Star Band.
That's cool.
Steven Tyler, when he
wait, I thought this was a country music fest.
when he had his moment in country music.
Right.
Wait,
well,
Steven Tyler
one thing that was cool. That was one thing that was cool about WeFest is every year we would do an out of box. Just somebody unique and special, and the audience loved it.
By out of box, you mean not country?
Not country,
okay.
Correct. And I mean, just a whole slew of people. I mean, prior to WeFest, working with Johnny Cash and Billy Graham organization on some crusades that Billy Graham was doing was a phenomenal experience. There's and unfortunately, at my age, there's been a number of them that have passed, since I have had opportunity to work with them, and I don't think there are a few artists, and I'm not going to tell you, so don't ask, but there are a few artists that I would not really care to work with again.
What? That's the juicy stuff.
I know, but I mean, that's just not the path I take. But I will tell you this much: the ones that I would probably not want to work with again are Christian artists.
Oh, wow!
I wouldn't have thought that.
I never would have guessed that. You got a picture of Joan Jett back there, and I'm a fan of Joan Jett. You have any story of
I love rock and roll.
I was about to say I love Joan Jett, but I think I just said that.
Can you name a song?
No offense. I sang into that was earlier.
Let's hear it.
Oh, tell me about a Joan Jett story. Do you have a Joan Jett story? Because that chick is tough. She's
a brawler.
It has to be a great show.
What could I tell you in our encounter with her? The thing that shocked me the most initially is how small she is.
Oh
right. Yeah, she's tiny.
She's just a tiny little gal.
And a huge presence though on stage and a performance, right? Like she's so small, but then she just owns the whole stadium or the whole crowd like in a matter of seconds.
And she was very gracious and she when people were around her, she paid attention. Huh. She didn't just brush you off and what have you. If she was engaged with you, she was engaged with you. And that was cool.
You promoted Willie Nelson too, right? I believe, right? We've had
Yep. Willie Nelson is probably one of the artist that I would say, in my experience, is the most sensitive and to his audience and to his fans, and even at an old age, when he could. I should say older age. It doesn't sound nice to say old age. But when he could have just walked off stage, got on his bus and left.
Right.
Number one, it was hard to get him off stage.
Those are the artists you like, right?
Yeah,
at least as an audience member.
Yeah, he's got a repertoire, I mean, 3 feet deep, whatever, of music. I mean, he could just sit and play and play and play and play. And the funny thing is we all know the songs and we all would sing along with them. But he was the one night he was on stage, and I mean, he went 30, 45 minutes over.
Wow.
He was the final act, and afterwards he stuck around. And he met every fan that wanted to meet him. He stayed, and I think he finally got on his bus about 3:00 in the morning.
Wow. Did it have any of those? What are they? Would they be ordinances for time where you've got to cut off at a certain time, and he's just going over and over, and you're like, well, it's Willie, so we're going to let him play, or we're going to try to roll him out?
Well, we had a 2 a.m. curfew.
So 2 a.m.
And our main stage normally got done at 12:30, and then our secondary stage and other events took place throughout the site. So I mean, he could go till 2 a.m.
Nice. It's not like have you been up to
we actually abused that 2 a.m. curfew once.
Oh yeah, who was it?
Well, we had a rainstorm come through.
Oh,
and we had to halt the show. And this is an interesting story. And it was Brooks and Dunn, and then Tim McGraw. That it was right before Brooks and Dunn was supposed to go on is when we had to call it. And I don't know if I should say that. I'm going to say it anyhow. So
might as well. Go ahead. Tell us the dirt.
Hey, this isn't being recorded, is it?
Now we're warming up, Bob. Now we're
we're recording there. We're recording there.
Yeah, make sure.
Thank God.
And I don't necessarily fault them, because at that time, and I kid you not, the roof that we had on our stage, the wind was blowing so much, the roof started to move.
Ooh, time to leave.
And we had 2 or 3 big forklifts, the one that they're sort of like a payloader forklift,
right.
The real big ones, that we actually ran cables down to them to hold the stage, right?
Wow.
And Brooks and Dunn were like, nope. Well, it's over, we're leaving. And Tim McGraw came up and said, "What's your curfew?" And we said 2 a.m. And he said, "You get me on stage, I'll play."
Wow.
That's cool.
That's a cool artist.
That's stepping up right there.
And then Brooks and Dunn was like, "Well, bullshit. We're playing first."
So all it took is a little peer pressure and they're in.
Oh, and I bet they all just went on, just had an unbelievable performance because they knew that they were all amped up because of that whole thing. And then the crowd probably just loved it.
So it was the storm was so bad. We were on stage with squeegees and mops and just trying to get everything dry and what have you.
You're sitting there.
Wait, where do you go when you're camping in a storm like that?
In your camper.
You're like in your little tent, it's blowing away, and then you hear them playing again at 1 a.m.
Well, in those, Jared, you meet a lot of friends when weather comes through. So you're not in a tent. You're usually in somebody else's camper.
So what if you get wet?
That's right.
Fair enough.
Here comes.
It's a festival.
Yeah, you're outside.
Of the experience.
I've actually gone back and watched a couple YouTube videos on WeFest. Like,
oh really?
There's what is it? Joe does or somebody does WeFest.
Did you see Bob in there?
I didn't see Bob, but I saw a lot of really, really, really drunk people that wouldn't care if water was on them.
Well, it's a good time.
It is a good time.
They're enjoying themselves for the weekend.
They had a good time.
So then Brooks and Dunn goes on. They do their set, and they were supposed to. And again, I don't remember exactly, but I think they were supposed to do like 60 or 75 minutes. We shortened it a little bit so Tim would have time, and they went long.
Of course.
Ooh, a little poke in the bear.
But this is something that just blew my mind. I never experienced anything like this before. I was standing on the side of the stage. Tim was getting ready to go on, and wish him well, what have you. And the lights go out, and this is before, nowadays they have like a 60-second commercial almost that they introduce themselves with.
Right.
So this was the MC, just saying, now Tim McGraw, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it goes black. Tim McGraw starts walking on stage, and just a spotlight on him. And he walks out to the center of the stage, and he puts his arms up in the air. And I'm telling you, I never felt the electricity in that stadium or arena like that ever before. The audience just went nuts.
Well, it's got to be, because you don't think you're going to see a show. You think it's all canceled. You've just braved, the monsoon or the storm, and then the artists have come out and rocked, and they're ready to go and want to go.
Well, and Brooks and Dunn probably just crushed it, just smashed it, and then they went longer, which they know, the crowd knows too. Like, hey, this shouldn't be this long.
We're in the deep cuts right now.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just pure eruption, and then all of a sudden, boom!
We're gonna go again. We got another hour and a half.
We did another standalone show at Sioux Pass Ranch. It was the Moody Blues.
Okay.
And that they were scheduled for 2 sets with a break in the middle. And when it came just about to the break, it started to rain.
Uh-oh.
And we had to stop it for a little while. And it was just a little storm that came through. It was just more water than it was anything else. And then Moody Blues came back out, and people were soaked, and they were out there and enjoying Moody Blues. And the number one thing you heard was, I saw the Moody Blues outside in the rain in Detroit Lakes.
Oh, that'd be fun. That's really cool. Memorable moments. Tons of memories.
Sort of a badge of honor. I remember when we started 10,000 Lakes Festival, which was a jam band festival, as I said. That was about a year after Bonnaroo started, which is a big jam band festival,
right?
In Tennessee. And I can remember looking on their website at some of the comments that people made about their first year. And there was this one email that was a lengthy email, and it was like, we came to the show, we had to sit on the highway for hours, we could barely get in. We finally get in, there's no bathrooms or whatever. The service was bad, and then it rained, and it was a mess, and this and blah, blah, blah. And just went on for, about all these things. And he ended it by saying, thanks for the time of my life.
Oh, that's a great email. So, Bob, how'd you get hooked up with Indie Country Fest? When did you first hear about them?
So he hears about a little thing happening in North Dakota, yeah.
All right. So what'd you think when you first heard
as I said, I believe I referred to that in 2014, after the 2014 show at WeFest, we sold the company.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, we really thought the team was going to stay intact at WeFest, but the people that purchased it had a different
idea.
Corporate overlords.
Corporate overlord.
So and I guess that's their prerogative. Obviously, right. They wrote the check, and so the team basically all got let go. Over a period of time. It wasn't all at once, but over a short period of time. And I and my business partner, when we got through, we were looking for other things to do, and we were looking at other festivals and other events.
Because that's what you do. Because that's what you do.
That's what I did. And, just figuring out what we were going to do and stuff. And Luke, I'm not 100% sure how it all worked, but anyhow, he got a hold of my son-in-law. And if I could say this, the whole music thing has really been a family affair for the Bliss family.
It sounds like it.
Not only me, my kids, my grandkids, and maybe our great grandkids.
It's a lot of pressure
coming, so don't start any rumors. Not yet.
Not that you know
of. Right. Yeah, that's the truth. But,
Christmas surprise.
Merry Christmas.
So Luke reached out to my son-in-law Corey, who while I was running WeFest, I was really turning over the helm to Corey to run the event, to be the operations guy, and he did that for a number of years, which and he was very good at it. And Luke, got wind that he wasn't at WeFest anymore, so he got a hold of him. And make a long story short, Corey came to work for Indy Country Fest. And so in 2018, with my son-in-law running the operations for it, I thought, well, let's go see what's shaking in Bismarck, North Dakota, or actually New Salem.
Is anything shaking in Bismarck, North Dakota?
Oh yeah, there was then.
That's just started. Little Indy Country Fest.
You were like, "Where's this cow at?"
All right. What's this cow thing?
Right.
We're gonna do a festival underneath it.
And you see it as soon as you hit the big cow, turn left.
Well, no, you come to the edge of the earth and you jump.
No, that's where I'm from. That's Cody.
Yeah, that's Wyoming,
right? Where the wind blows and there's nothing else there.
So then we ended up, or I ended up coming out to see the show, and I was impressed with a lot of things that Luke was doing right. Most festivals and events like that start as a glorified kegger.
Right.
And it's just a big party, and you count the dollars afterwards and hope you made something or whatever. There's no real business plan. It's just how can we have the greatest time of our lives and hopefully pay for it.
No, Luke comes on the opposite side. He wants to know make sure all the T's are crossed, I's are dotted, everything lines up. So he wants to have fun, but he wants to make sure he can pay for it.
Well, there's a business end of it.
Right.
It's a business.
He wouldn't be in it if it wasn't.
And yet Luke was very green in the industry and stuff.
Well, I mean
there were things I could see that could be addressed immediately, so on and so forth, whatever. But he had a great business mind.
Yeah, but that's the compelling thing about this story is you've got Luke, who's an insurance guy in Arizona who played collegiate football at North Dakota State. You've got Brandon, who's running a Bruno's Pizza. You got these two guys that have never put on an event before who are now putting on an event, bringing in talent, like pretty good talent, to a spot that's never had it. And then they're hooking up with, I don't want to call you old timers, but guys that have knowledge about the business, and you're putting new with, old and mixing it in and creating something really special.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I recognize that. And I saw also, and in my conversations with Luke is, his plan wasn't how do we get to next year? His plan was, what's this going to look like in 5 years? What's it going to look like in 10 years?
Yeah, he's always thinking about those sorts of things.
So. Yep. And that's something that's unique.
Well, and he also brings a different perspective because when he looks at things, he sees it from kind of, I don't want to say an outsider's view, but out of the box view, where, some festival things may have been doing things a certain way for a certain period of time. They've just never thought, hey, what's going on over here? And you kind of have an outside vision to it. But then again, different. They have the connections.
And And the twist between the two has been amazing. I mean, now we've been together. Shoot, we're probably pushing about 3 years now.
Ooh,
and it's
what anniversary is that? Great. That paper? I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
I think the third year is carrots.
Carrots. All right.
I'll take that with a side of ranch, buddy.
Next time I'm with you guys, I'm bringing some carrots.
Go ahead, Bob. Go ahead. Yeah. Continue. Go ahead.
And not only just seeing the operation, and I myself, the thing that I learned very early in business is that the customer is your bread and butter.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's it doesn't matter how right you might think you are or whatever. The customer is the one that's right.
If they're not spending their dollars,
right?
That's right.
Then we don't exist.
Right.
And also, maybe even going back to the story where I was telling you about how I first got into WeFest was through service.
Right.
And volunteering to serve people and stuff. I've always been very attentive to the client or the patron's needs and desires. And, how can we make it right? How can we make it work? How can we make this the best experience for you possible? When I got to Indy Country Fest in 2018, it was obvious that was at the top of the list of priorities for this event as well.
Right.
And then I got an opportunity to sit down with Luke and visit, and we had a really good conversation, and I was just very impressed. And as I left the event, I called my business partner and I said, John, I think I found where we need to land.
Well, Luke's spirit is a little bit infectious. It gets to you. I don't know. Can you say that in today's world right now?
I don't know. That's how.
So fast forward to 2020, you guys were having meetings and meetings and meetings, right? About what you were going to do, how this thing was going to go off. What are we doing with COVID? It was kind of a stressful, would we call it 6 months? 4 months?
Well, it still is, right? It's still a moving target. But what's amazing to me through this whole thing and the team that we have is that I feel we even got even stronger and stronger through this whole thing.
Right.
Nobody was like on the edge of like, I don't want to do this anymore. Oh, this is too stressful. What we did is we put the blinders on and just kept moving forward.
It's the Luke Schaefer motto: positivity, positivity, positivity.
Well, that's the only way to look at it, in today's world. And with the mix of from if you want to say the from our end of it to the mix of the whole team, I mean, the dynamics is very unique. Right. It's very unique, and I don't think you can get that in even many other industries.
Right.
And the gelling that has come with our team in the last even just 3 years is quite amazing to me, because we can do things quickly, we can do things very efficiently,
yes,
and we can do things that's backed with decades of experience. And it's very unique,
and we can do them in a fresh way.
That's right.
It's all of our desires that you might call us a small event today, but we're going to lead the parade. And even in 2020, as we were going forward, and other festivals and other businesses and everybody else was like,
postpone.
Shit, we got to shut down.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, no, we're going to figure out how to do this. And it wasn't that we were thinking, throw all caution to the wind and throw a big COVID super.
It was, how do you get past this? Because it was a daily discussion.
Right. And we developed a very comprehensive safety protocol manual. And I say it this way when I've talked with others. I've never seen, for instance, what Walmart's manual looks like, but I would dare to say it's on the same level. We're looking at how do we stay open safely and provide this for our patrons in a fashion that we can all still come together, have fun, and be safe.
I've seen that manual. It's like this big around here, isn't it?
Well, just that one specific for that is about 32 to 34 pages.
That's crazy.
And that got in the hands of, the industry's world leaders, right? And they were like, this is probably the best one we've seen.
Well, and the crazy part about this is it's all evolving on a daily basis, right? Like things are changing in such a rapid manner. What you may have going on right now in 2 months may be completely different.
Right.
So,
but the thing is, we realize that.
And as Luke said, we gave this manual, if you will, or this whatever, to our artists and their agents, to let them know what we're doing as well. And we had requests, can we use this and adapt it for us? And our first response,
no,
in our mind,
pay me,
show me the money,
right? Whoa!
But at the same time, that's really the price you pay to be a leader. Is if you're on the front, people are going to always want
what you're known
to copy and to do what you're proving to be right and effective. And when it comes to the industry, we want to be team players. And
even right now, you guys are still out there advertising. You're still doing the lives for Facebook, Instagram,
radio station. What, 120 radio stations?
Right.
Still,
you're still pushing
like
all that. Where most of these other festivals, we live in the country thunder demographic, and we never hear any of that.
Zero.
Nothing. So like other than postpone.
And at that time, and still today, and a lot of people, I've never mentioned it to, out loud, I guess,
right.
out, in public, but at that time, we were getting calls and requests from other festivals from coast to coast,
right,
saying, hey, you guys are still out there. You guys are still doing it. How are you doing this? And all this kind of stuff. And still today, you can see, and some things that we do and implement, there's people watching, and then all of a sudden, hey, okay, that they're using that now. That's cool. Good for them. Or that, other things we've implemented that the industry's never seen, and then all of a sudden it's popping up on the East Coast and the West Coast and other venues.
So in a few short years, we got the attention of the industry, and we are a leader. We are ones that people are looking at.
So if that's the case, the only real festival I was paying attention to was Highway 30. So does that mean I get to see you in a hot tub soon?
No.
That's my dream.
No.
So Bob, I got in trouble last week because I forgot and Luke forgot. If you could be doing anything right now in a post-COVID world without any care, what would you say? What would you be doing?
Yeah, what would you be doing? Not music related.
Not music related, because that seems to be, what's that phrase? You love what you do. You never work a day. I don't know.
Right.
Those things.
What would I do? Non-COVID?
Non-COVID, non-music.
Non-music.
Shit.
That's
Shit.
Wow. All right. You really like doing that then. I think you're going to do that anyway.
Hey, touche.
I would be sitting on the Gulf of Mexico,
really,
with a toddy in hand and enjoying the sun, the scenery, the waves, and enjoying life.
You'd be sitting on the beach. Well, I never would have guessed that.
I'd do that.
Hey, well done.
Now, if you're talking business, that's a different story. But I am so through with COVID, these lockdowns, this,
hey.
Come on.
Hey, right.
The world, my friend, the world.
I want to be, I'm with you. I want to be on a beach with a leaded pop.
A leaded pop?
A leaded pop.
What is that, Jared?
Maybe a mojito.
Oh, you're a mojito guy. You make those. Okay.
Yeah, I do. And a cigar, right? That'd be my preference. Preferably, I guess, Cuba. As long as they're not.
I'm more of a woods guy. And just sitting there by the fire and just hanging out.
You want to go up to the,
ice cold Coors Lights.
Yeah.
Couple of red Fireball. Fireball.
You're a man
bottles.
of simple needs.
And the dogs. It's weird, right? But it is like the kids and the dogs and me and the
My drink requires muddling and mushing and 18 components. A beach, a flight.
Yeah, mine's a shotgun, a rifle, and a
cigar that may be illegal in some states, or most states. You're like, hey, I just load up the kids in the Army green whatever SUV you got now and head north for an hour or two, and you're good.
That's great. Bob, thanks so much. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you so much and everything that we're about to do together at ND Country Fest. And it's always a joy for me every single day.
You know what, Luke? We may have a new segment. We may have story time with Bob.
That would be good. Ooh. Well, we may have to talk about that with Bob offset. I think it would be good.
And the next
we just went 43. We didn't think we were going to do 20.
Wait till he talks about what's that MIG fuel, and that's a whole nother story.
Right.
I got a bottle of it right here.
All right.
Coming to a cave near you.
Whoa. I love it. All right, Bob, thanks for showing up. Thanks for being a great guest. And I look forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Bob. We'll see you later.
Peace.
We are making snowmen, and we are heading into fan festival news
from around
the world.
So there were a couple articles that came out. One on Rolling Stone that was talking about how there was a festival in Barcelona.
Yes.
And not, you know what? I don't know if it was a festival per se or a scientific experiment. So two different articles. Polestar has an article about it. Rolling Stone has an article about it. New York Times has an article about it, right? Uh-huh. So New York Times talks about how it's a scientific experiment. Yeah. They got 1,000 people together. Mm-hmm. They gave them all a rapid test on the COVID.
Yeah.
Halfway through the day, if you tested negative, then they took 500 of those negative people and said, hey, you got a 5-hour concert now that you can go watch, right? And so the whole point of that was to look and see how the people that went to the concert spread COVID, if they did, and how the control group of the people who didn't go to the concert and went out and how they spread COVID.
And also, I believe it was to see how quickly they could process those people.
They're processing them in. And so then that's the
false negatives too, right? That's
so here's the
false positives or false negatives, however you want to call it.
So that's the New York Times side of it. All right. Mm-hmm. So the Rolling Stone and the Polestar side of it, which are both music, Rolling Stone is Rolling Stone.
Right.
Polestar is for music,
anybody who's into music. Yeah.
Right. And so how they were pitching it is, hey, this could be the future. Right. So we rapid test somebody. If you come back negative, then you get into the show. Right. Mm-hmm. Problematic. Why?
If they come problematic, why?
Yeah.
Well, it could be false negatives.
False positive, false negative.
Yeah, false positive, false negatives, however you want to do it. And then all of a sudden it's spread out and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And
possibly.
We're in kind of this weird world right now where we're just trying to find solutions, right?
The question is too then, so if that person purchased the $200 ticket, then you're refunding them right on the spot?
Yes. And then what about resale market? Like,
right.
I bought a ticket. I bought a ticket. I want to sell it to somebody else. You've got to get them negative right before they go. They get to test it. There's all of those problems that are there.
And then is it vaccine cards and all that? I know that's been tossed around. We've read a couple articles on that. Vaccine card, no vaccine card. We're not going to do that. We're going to do that. Nobody knows. And
we were talking about it on the way over. It's like, okay, so they make you sit in the car for
so we get tested.
It's 3 hours. We get tested. Which one? You want to get it? I want to get it.
Doesn't matter. I'll take it for the team. I'm positive.
All right. Luke's positive.
I can't go.
Like, woohoo. I get to go to the concert.
And I'm like, how? Because you're sitting in the car with me.
I said, no, I don't know who Luke Schaefer is. Yeah. We completely came different. I don't know who that.
Or do they eliminate the group and actually have to ask you who you're with?
So then I don't know. Like, so there's contact tracing from that.
We'll say there's 4 of us. One's positive in the car, and the other 3 aren't. But then the other 3 can't go.
Well, and it's interesting because the Golden State Warriors, the NBA is starting up already, which is crazy. Like they want to get in before their traditional opening, or they have the traditional Christmas Day games. They want to get in before that, but seems like they just finished. But the Golden State Warriors are
they did kind
of. I got to give them like more than a golf clap.
They did
for getting out there this soon. The Golden State Warriors wanted to spend $30 million on testing their fans and bringing them in, and San Francisco's like, nope.
But that just goes to show too. I didn't say this when we were talking about it earlier, but that just goes to show how important fans are to the environment and the actual games themselves, and the importance of, let's just call it what it is. The revenue towards those sports. That's a big deal, having those people on property and enjoying themselves, and having, that extra revenue that comes from people sitting in the seats. I mean, selling tickets is a big deal for all of them, all the teams, baseball, football, basketball, soccer games, everything.
So I was listening to
music concerts,
who was I watching? Pat McAfee. Right. Mm-hmm. So he's doing, he's got his talk radio show, and he was talking about the Buffalo Bills not playing fake music or fake fan noise versus everybody else playing fake fan noise. Mm-hmm. And there's a difference. Like,
completely.
Which version do you want? And I'm kind of with the fake fan noise, except when, was it 2 weeks ago when ASU played? Whenever ASU would do something good, you know whose fight song they played?
The other teams.
No.
Who? U of A's.
U of A's fight song. That's how stupid they were.
So I'm for it too. I'm for it if I'm watching it on TV, obviously. Right. But if it's all jacked up, it just sucks. It's like this is too dumb. It's too made up.
Some of the football games I've watched, they've done a really good job of like, hey, it actually feels like there are people there. And then you look and it's like, there are some people there.
Like 5.
But, I think the Golden State Warriors, if they were doing their testing or rapid testing in a state not in California, they may, if they were in Texas, or it'd be interesting.
Yeah, sure,
Oklahoma,
Texas for sure. Yeah.
Maybe if the Thunder, or is it the Thunder? Yeah, the Oklahoma City Thunder. If they were testing there, that they might be able to do that.
Right. And my true belief is this is all going to get figured out rather quickly, because there's so many things that need to get this figured out and fast. And the vaccine's coming. And
it was interesting
because it's not even coming anymore. It's here.
We had a vaccine talk today. Like I went in with my mom to one of her doctors, her allergist, and we were talking about getting the vaccine, whether my mom should or she shouldn't, why she shouldn't, why she should. And then, I'm self-interested. So I'm like, okay, so when do you think it's going to roll around for someone like me? And she's like, April. And then, I get in the car tonight and we're talking, and you're like, well, how'd you come up with April? And you start giving me I don't know. She just looked at me.
I gave you the attorney jargon.
She looked
Where were you when she said April?
I don't know. She was a really good doc, and she looked at me and gave me the heads up and down and said, April it is.
You look like an April guy.
An April. So
I think that was a safe call for her.
Well, but we got back here and we pulled up the Maricopa County requirements,
and which is in Arizona for all of our listeners around the world. Which we have some.
We got Ireland. Ireland's locked down.
We got Vietnam too now.
We got a Vietnam.
Yeah, how cool is that?
And then YouTube has all of the.
We have a ton.
YouTube has all the girls that want to see Ralphie. Ralphie has a fan club.
But she does go and says, we looked up the Maricopa.
We looked it up, and I had to laugh.
And that was the best.
Because there's literally
no dates.
No, it's like, okay, so right now, December to spring, we're going to have 3 phases, 1 through B, 1 through C, or A through C. And the first phase is, what was it, medical workers?
I don't remember, but it all went through it.
Like medical workers, healthcare, 65 and older, those sorts of things. Then it was like, if you missed out on the last batch, then you're in this batch. And then, essential workers here. And then spring, oddly enough, April, we call that spring in Arizona, is when the next batch of people with vaccines could get it.
Well, and the thing is, everybody and whoever's, as this process moves forward, it's just going to get better and better and more efficient. So they'll be able to distribute things and manufacture things quicker and they're going to learn more about it, and even just how to distribute it and who wants it and who doesn't want it. And they know percentages then, like, it's for this, whatever. Millions of people, 1 million people, and, 20% of them didn't didn't even want it, so we only had 800. So we only had 80%, 800,000. So we have 80% that will end up doing it. So then they can start calculating and moving it quicker and quicker and quicker. It will evolve quick. Look how fast it already has.
It's already had. We're here. We're there. The FDA just approved it, and they said good to go. So.
Yeah, crazy. Hit that,
Bruno's? We're good.
Brothers and sisters, I hear you asking yourself day after day, what am I gonna have for lunch? Do I want another burger? Do I need another taco? Brothers and sisters, may I introduce you to Bruno's Pizza. Pizza is the bread of endless possibilities. What can go on a pizza can go in a calzone wrap. Look beyond a pepperoni, 32 pizzas and a snack. If you like heat, try the Lava Hawaiian. Marauder Pizza is also kicking. You need Bruno's Pizza in your life. Let the humble Bruno's Pizza lift you up from your hunger and deliver you into the realm of satisfaction. East Front Avenue, online at brunosnd.com. Can I get a napkin?
We are snowballing our way on into Ralphie's top 3. This is where we get our great friend Ralphie on the phone and we give him his top 3, whatever the subject is, and then he gives us what his greatest top 3 items are. Ralphie, good to see you. Is that Frosty the Snowman or is that the Ralphie himself? What'd you say?
Oh, it was ruined by whatever your internet was. Oh, can we see it one more time? Let's see it. What was it?
I was trying to pull a Luke at the end of the show.
Snowballing away. Oh,
that was good. That was good.
Oh.
We'll have to steal that later.
That's pretty good. We can throw the little snowman there.
Ralphie, are you ready for the top 3 today? It's good to see you. I like that hat. It looks nice and green. It's very festive. Very festive.
I got it for the holidays. Blend in with the trees.
It's green.
I can scare my kids.
I would have worn my red one today, but Luke said bring the elf hat, so here I am.
There it is. It's looking good. Here we go. Ralphie's top 3 in the spirit of the Christmas season.
Yeah.
Your
favorite
top 3 Christmas decorations. Think about that for a minute.
Charlie Brown's ugly Christmas tree.
Kind of more of a Scrooge type.
Whoa, what's up, Grinch?
You're right. 3, I think seeing wreaths on doors and like even fences nowadays, that's probably my 3rd one.
You get
we're going with wreaths. Exciting.
Yeah.
I'm building it up.
You get invigorated by the wreath on the front door gate.
Just, it's majestic.
Okay.
All right.
There's some symbolism to that.
Right.
That's another show.
All right. Number 2. In honor of Bob.
I would have to say ornaments.
Ornaments.
Like
that's not a decoration. Now we're getting into like separate things. Ornaments are its whole other category. Come on.
What?
Yeah.
I'm saying ornaments, like putting them on the tree, spending them, you got the family, you got one person taking them out of the box, giving them to the kids running it to you.
You've obviously
lifting up the kids to hang it on the tree.
Okay. I could see
You've
that.
never been to my house.
That.
I'm not allowed to touch one ornament. Everything has to go in a specific area. My wife's got like 150 to 200 ornaments on the tree. She only cares about they are perfect. So
whoa,
I know.
Do you put the hooks on? Is that what it is?
I don't do anything.
You don't do anything.
I literally bring the boxes,
you get the tote out.
in. They stay out for a week or two as she gets everything perfect. So.
All right, hit that button, Jared. Ralphie's number 1 holiday Christmas decoration is.
Remember, I'm the Scrooge, right? I hate holidays. I hate
Cole?
it.
You do not. You play it
out of my routine, but lately, Christmas lights on houses.
Oh,
Like those, like big ones, not like one strip to make it look good. I'm talking about big production.
You got to look at Luke's.
Like you're talking about 2,000 bulbs, like, right?
Oh,
you're like talking, bringing in big generators.
Your neighborhood's a little Christmassy.
It very well is. Yeah, there's lots of Christmas lights down there. I could dig that. I'm a big house light, neighborhood light
drive up
show.
to these houses now, and you have to turn the radio station to get the music. And
so, Brandon, we have.
And you're like, my world of illumination.
We have a friend, or a couple of our friends actually competed in which one's on ABC? The Great Christmas Light Fight Special? I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
One of those two shows. They did their house up. He had so many Christmas decorations that when he was putting them up in the loft of the garage, and they weighed so much, they did $10,000 worth of damage to like the arches and support, and he had to get it all fixed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's amazing. But if you go back and check it out on YouTube, it was crazy because originally they wanted to film here in July and do Christmas in July.
Oh, sure.
And he's like, no, I'm not going to get up and sweat to death putting all these Christmas decorations up in July. And then we were all out there, reality TV, filming it and doing all that stuff. But it was amazing. Like my favorite Christmas decoration, a wreath
that he gave you.
He did, and it looks amazing. Like
That's
everybody
cool.
comes around.
Where
and
do you?
Where did you get that wreath?
Yeah.
And it's gigantic, and it sits up in front of the archway. And
in your house?
Outside, and it just
glistens?
Twinkles.
Okay.
It just looks great. So, Lukey,
cool.
what's yours? Is yours...
My favorite
Are they the
Christmas
blow-up decorations that your wife and daughter do for the older people around the corner? Which is
that's
a cool
true.
idea.
Yeah. My that's not my favorite, but I'll talk about that real quick. There's some older folks that live around the corner, and my wife and my kids sneak around one night, and then they put up a bunch of Christmas lights and blow-ups in their yard, and then they plug them in, and then they kind of knock on the door, and then take off, and then they come out, and they're like, oh, and
Brandon comes out and
cool.
get off my lawn.
No, and they do that, and that's pretty cool. No, but my favorite, my favorite Christmas decoration is literally silver bells on streetlights.
Streetlights.
Yeah.
Where can I see these silver bells on streetlights?
You gotta find yourself some, bro.
We need to go look for them. I want to see them. We're looking tonight.
That's it. Ralphie, do you have anything else for this Christmas spirit of the season?
I don't have anything.
He's speechless.
Does Bruno's have like a cookie, cookie pizza?
Cookie pizza or
what's the deal? Candy cane cookie pizza?
Pot roast pizza?
Polar Bear Express? What?
We tried it on a brownie, put a little frosty on it, crunched up
peppermint
candy canes.
Ooh. And
it didn't turn out.
Oh, there's always next year. All right, Ralphie, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. Our batteries are going dead too, so we'll talk to you later. See ya.
Rah, rah, rah.
Bye, Ralphie.
All right, stage left. Jared, you had an amazing weekend. You were all smiles and talking trash about my NDSU Bison, and you're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. They would never have a chance. Blah, 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 blah.
They would have rolled the Bison the way they were playing on Friday.
So I would say, what did I text you back? Do you remember? If not, I'll tell you right now. I would say all this means is that NDSU then now would just be tied for the Pac-12 South with USC.
Right. With 2 wins? Well, USC's got 4 or 5.
Yeah, like,
you know what I was hoping for?
ASU's only played 2 games. 3 games.
3 games. We're 1 and 2. I was hoping that we would get to play U of A at 0-3 again and just beat up on them for 2 weeks in a row. It was an amazing game. Like,
your Arizona State Sun Devils played the University of Arizona.
Our hated rival. We hate them.
And
it was insane. Like, I've never watched a football game that was that out of control. I don't think
it was bad.
So it's a 5 o'clock start. 5 o'clock start, rivalry game in the state. Not because it has to happen at 5 o'clock. Like 5 o'clock on a Saturday, I'm okay, but I'm still trying to get out of work at 5 o'clock. So I leave about 5-10 minutes early. I think if I can make it home in about 20, I won't miss any of the game. Mm-hmm. Get in my car, check the score right at like 5 o'clock, and we're already up 7-0, right?
Yeah.
Go 1 mile more check the score. It's 14-0. And I'm like, what the heck happened? We're only 10 minutes into this game and it's already 14-0. Get home, I'm a mess. Like, I've got to supposedly make dinner for mom and the wife.
Where were you watching the game?
At home. Like, I'm not going out.
Oh, you said you got home.
I got home. I was getting ready to throw on the TV.
Oh, to watch the game.
To watch the game.
Okay. You were somewhere else.
The roommates are all, well, I was at work. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a 5 o'clock start.
Oh, that's Friday. Right. It was a Friday. Sorry.
Right. So I'm leaving. I'm trying to drive home because,
right. We want to go watch the game.
Right. And they're talking about what they want for dinner. And I'm all crabby because I want to watch this game that we're rolling. And it didn't matter. Like, I made dinner and came out and we were up 24-0 maybe.
What did you make? Cat. Get it? The Wildcats?
Yes. No. I don't even remember. I think we did leftovers because I was not in the mood. I'm just like, here you go. And then it was just the rest of the night. Score. They couldn't stop anything.
The rails had officially fallen off of the University of Arizona.
Oh, yeah. That was a coach that wanted to get fired. Like, I can't imagine. Like, there was nothing there.
There was no control on that team. It was just completely.
And it wasn't like we were trying to run the score up. All we did was run the ball for the last quarter and a half.
And you could tell those players really didn't care.
Yeah. Have you ever been on a team like that?
No, never.
And I don't think I have. It was like, you're just like, and maybe that's, I don't know if that's someone's fault. Mm-hmm. I find it ironic and I like it because, God, I don't know how many years ago, 6-7 years ago, when we were trying to hire a replacement for Erickson, that replacement was supposed to be Sumlin, and he left us at the church or at the altar to go to Texas A&M.
Well, you can't blame a guy for that, right? I mean, Texas A&M. I'm not going to blame him for that. Texas A&M is a legit, real deal job.
Allegedly.
Right? Not saying ASU's that, but ASU is not Texas A&M.
I understand that. I'm a little...
You're saying somebody would take the ASU job over Texas themselves.
But it's a little like getting left at the altar, right? At the last minute.
Not really.
He was going to sign, and then Texas A&M came and swooped it up, right?
Yeah, well, I bet the payroll's a lot different, too.
Oh, yeah, totally. So like you're leaving a 7 or an 8 for a 10.
Like, what's Herm getting here? $2 million? $3 million?
Yeah, but he's on a sweetheart deal. Like,
well, let's just say it's $3 million, right?
Well,
Texas A&M was probably 6.
No, Texas A&M was probably 10 or 11.
Okay, well then he's tripling.
Someone's getting 7.
So, well, let's just talk this through.
Okay. No,
you're about to get ASU, and they're going to give you $2 million.
It doesn't mean I can't be bitter. Do you not have that ex-girlfriend that left you for somebody else, and you're not bitter about it?
You just talk just pure salary, not all the rest of the
I get
magnificent nostalgia of Texas A&M football.
And the losing seasons and getting fired unceremoniously, and then having to take a job at U of A and then getting fired unceremoniously.
You're such a homer, but that's okay.
That's my team.
I love it.
That's my boys.
You should be. You should be. You should be.
I love my Devils, and it was just sweet. Like, the only thing that would be sweeter.
He left us at the altar for $2 million. He left and got $12 million.
That was bitter.
I hate him.
It was a done deal. Like, when you're watching the coaching things, it was done deal. And it's so much of a done deal that our AD at the time, Mr. had an ASU colored suit, was the new AD for Texas A&M in a Texas A&M suit. And you're just like, college football.
You will have to say, though, too, those years that I am just saying, he had some great years at Texas A&M during that time.
Not really.
He did too.
Look them up. They weren't good. They were not good.
He did too.
There's a reason why you
got
get fired.
Towards the end. I mean,
I don't even think he had one good year.
Well, eventually, there's two kinds of coaches: ones that just got hired, and the ones that are about to get fired.
Well, I mean,
there's a fact. Like Herm, eventually is going to get fired. He's not going to be there forever.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, probably.
No, that's a fact, right? Dennis Erickson fired.
Yeah, well,
who was Graham before him, but after him fired.
Cutter fired.
Fired.
I'm all happy.
They don't stay.
Every coach, I'm happy. They come in and I'm like,
it's about the W column. And they're all great guys, I'm sure.
When they come in, I'm happy as hell. And then when they leave, I'm happier. And then I'm burned. Like,
that's because you like the new shiny toy.
Dude, when
this is our year.
When Erickson,
this is our guy.
The last game Erickson coached, I'm like, I'm not coming back. I'm done. I can't handle this team anymore.
And then
they hired Todd Graham, and I'm in.
Then they called and said, would you like your New Year's season passes? Yes, can I get 6 more?
And all it took was going to one coaching event and him going rah, rah, rah. And I'm like, I'm in.
I'm sold.
And then we fire him and we bring in Herm. And I'm like, Herm? Practice? No. That guy where you can't win? Soundbite? And I'm like, no, I'm done. And then all it takes is one game and I'm back in. And I guess I am a homer. It's my boys.
Well, you should be.
Went there. There's a lot of...
But that was some interesting dialogue there. Anyway, they beat him 70-7.
There's a little bit of that. So amongst my friends, and we were all a bunch of hardcore tailgaters,
right.
Season ticket holders.
You guys have so much pent up, energy right now.
There is. There's a lot of issues. It's a tragedy.
Party school.
Well, yeah, but we're a football tragedy. We're like a Greek tragedy. Like you get built up. We're the Greek hero. We're getting here. We're banging away. Everything's going right. The program's growing right. We're getting good recruits. And then all of a sudden, whoosh. And
losing season.
Lucy comes in, losing season, new coach out the door. And then it starts all back over again.
Like ideally, and any football team now, whether it's college or pros or even high school, I mean, if you don't have a good quarterback, and they have an excellent quarterback right now.
Well,
but in the past, it's been.
And it's a weird season. I mean, we played USC last weekend or 2 weekends ago.
USC? No, that was like a
UCLA.
month ago.
We played UCLA, right? And then the game before that we played was USC 4 or 5 games ago, and we haven't played for an entire month, right?
That's because of
COVID
hit, yeah.
because of the pandy, right?
Yeah.
And then UCLA hasn't missed a game at all, right? And they're just rolling in to play us. We played 1 game in a month, and then we've been dealing with the pandy the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is just a weird season because how is that fair? We kept it close, but we hadn't played, right?
Right.
And so then we roll into this game. We actually had a friend of ours legitimately the night before the game go, well, if we lose this game tomorrow, are we going to fire Herm? And I'm like, seriously? Why would you fire anybody when we got a really good recruiting class coming in? And it's been a pandemic season where we played 2 games so far.
I don't know. Ask all those coaches that got fired last weekend.
Well, ask someone. Whoa.
Oh, anyway, ASU killed them 70-7.
It was good.
That was a great segment, a great thing for the Jared. Great win.
It was great.
I did have something.
I have this. I've got these.
You're all excited.
Yeah. What did you do? Smoked some chickens.
I smoked some chickens. We took my mom out for some ride around for some Christmas lights. Where some were good, some were bad. It was fun. But what we really did do is that my wife and I went shopping for Christmas gifts.
Oh, where'd you go? You actually went out?
All over. Yeah, we went out and did
Why?
it. Why?
Yeah, you didn't.
Because we could. Nobody was out there.
Was it empty?
Yeah, nobody was out
Where'd
there.
you go? Did you go to the mall?
No, we didn't go to the mall. We just went to a couple. We just went to like a Target, and then we went to Walmart, and then we went to like a Kohl's.
I think that was my biggest frustration on Friday when I got home. Is I want to watch this football game. It's on. And why the heck are all these people out? It seemed like a normal...
On Friday? They're coming home from work.
Coming home from work, but it seemed like it seemed like more of a December or a holiday Friday where people were going out shopping.
Could have been.
Trying to do some eating out and stuff like that.
There wasn't anybody out when we did it. What's crazy though, when we go shopping, it's kind of like we shop, but we don't... My wife's not a huge shopper either.
Right.
So we go out and a lot of times we're just screwing around and throwing stuff around, and it's just pretty fun. It's funny, but we had a good time and we did that, and there wasn't many people out, and we loaded up and we were almost done. We're
almost done?
Almost done. We just got a couple more things.
I haven't even started.
That's it.
Got any ideas?
Well, we got 3 kids.
Yeah, you got to get
so that's a little different.
Do you remember the Sears catalog? Did you get those?
Yeah, did you circle your stuff?
Circle your stuff. And when you lived in like BFE like I did, my parents would have to order it out and hide it, and they were never really good at hiding it. So
that was the weekend. It was pretty good. It was fun. We got a lot of stuff done. Congrats to the Arizona State Sun Devils, which, you know what, I am a fan as well. I do want you to be so successful because I want some great football.
It's a great way to end the season.
All right. Hey, you know what, Jared?
How can they find us on the podcast in Luke Schaefer?
That's your part, my buddy.
I know. I want to test you. How do you know?
That's easy. So you can find us on any podcast platform that you like, especially, hey, we're on iHeart. You know,
we are iHeartMedia. We are on them.
Actually, we didn't select them. They selected us, and we got on there. That's pretty cool, right? Exactly.
I didn't email them or submit it at all. No, Luke Schaefer.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Oh, you did. Well, you didn't say that last time when I said, hey, our radio station, we were on there. And you're like, really? We got on iHeart?
I submitted us. We got on. I posted it on Facebook, and then you're like, "Oh, our iHeartMedia radio stations noticed it."
Okay, well, Jared forgot what he said earlier, so now he's changed.
We have tape, so we'll go back. We'll go back. I'm right.
So you can go ahead and find us on iHeart podcast,
iHeartMedia.
You can go iHeartMedia. You can go to iTunes. You can go to all that good stuff. You can find us there anywhere where you find your podcast.
And then once you're done with that,
my favorite part, I'm just going to take this.
You're going to go. No, I want to do this one. I want to mix it up. I want to see you go to YouTube. I want you to see our beautiful faces and like, subscribe, hit the notification button. So every time Ralphie uploads something new, it'll just bing, bing, bing.
And we do have quite a bit. And I will say that again, because there is, we've had some major traction in the last.
There's a ton of content out there that the Light Jumper boys here have shot. And that's where you can find us. And we'd like to get that up so that we can get something special when we get 100 subscribers.
Hit those 100 subscriptions because we're getting there fast and we're getting there quick. Hey, you know what? If you like what you're about to hear, these are our boys from Quaker City Nighthawks. They love it. They love them. We love you. But you know what? Here's to you. Here's to me. You know the rest. And we
are...